All right. Well, welcome everybody. This is the kickoff for our 2025 summer season. Thank you all for joining. I'm going to try not to keep these too long, but we just want to kind of go over some of the specifics about the summer program. Um, I know it's a little bit to be different from what we've all done in the years past. So we want to kind of just talk about it really quick and let everyone have everybody will have an opportunity to ask questions, and kind of go from there. I am recording the session, so I will put it up on the Mac website either tonight or tomorrow so that if someone misses it and they want to come back or refer to it, it will be there waiting for you. Um, Feel free to stop me if you have questions. Make it interactive, totally fine with that. I will ask that everybody go on mute for the time being, um, just to keep the background noise at bay. But let's get started. All right, summer season. What is the MAC League? So MAC League is about a group of about 15 different towns. For this summer and for the off season, we invite other programs in. So both Westford and Boxborough are joining in with the MAC League for the summer, and joining all of our other towns. Little bit. So for the summer and fall season this year, the MAC League is hosting the summer season, which was previously provided by the MIB League out of Westford. Um, so that means for those of you already in the MAC League, the rules will be basically identical to what we play in the spring season. For those of you coming from Westford or Acton, you're going to want to make sure you read up on the rules. They are not too much different, but different enough that it will catch you off guard if you don't make sure you read the rules. We'll talk about some of the specifics in here, but make sure you kind of give a run through it. If you don't know, we also have a fall season coming up. So hopefully every town submits teams for the fall season. So again, Westford, Acton, you guys are welcome to join in for the fall season as well. Uh, all right. I'm gonna skip mostly past this, but just letting you know the MAC League is now running divisions all the way from rookie all the way up to the senior Babe Ruth. So we've got programs at every level. For the summer, we don't do Babe Ruth because we're still running our spring season. But in the fall, we will have a Babe Ruth program. So if you want to get the big kids on the big diamond, we have a program for that in the fall. All right, what are some of the important dates? So games begin next Monday, depending on your schedule. But for the most part, it'll be beginning Monday and go all the way till August 8th. There are no playoffs in the season, so that means no records, none of that stuff. So this is a fun season, therefore teaching the kids instructional. Um, Couple of quick notes. Most summer games start at 6 p.m. There are some that start earlier. And I strongly recommend that if you see check your schedule, if you see a game that starts at 5 or 5:30, that's not an era. There's a couple of programs that have to start a little bit early because of ability usage. I would check that um, with the coach from the other team to see if that's possible. Starting a game at 5 o'clock during the week might not be possible for some teams. So talk to the other coach and let them know if you need to reschedule it or move it to another field, feel free to do so. The other note, there is a couple of games on Fridays. This is literally just because we ran out of fields. And so I think there's two or three total that have to be on Fridays. As coaches, you are more than welcome to talk to the other coach if you can find another date that works better for you guys. If you want to have it Monday, Wednesday, find another slot, by all means, whatever works for you guys. It's summer. We're pretty flexible across the board. All right, so what is really the goal for this summer? So really, this is just about giving more opportunities for the kids to play baseball. You'll be seeing kids that are younger in older divisions. You will see kids that have only never played spring balls. See kids that have never played before. Summer is really an instructional time. It's really about getting the kids ready, and getting them ready for the next season, fall, and or more importantly, the competitive spring season. So this is really where we kind of do some extra teaching and really give the kids that a little bit more fun than we might do it during the competitive high end seasons. All right, so as far as participation goes, you need to have at least 8 players within 15 minutes of the game start. However, this is summer, so do whatever you do to get the game in. If you get to the field and you're only stuck there with 6, 7 kids, ask the other town, hey, can we borrow a couple players? They don't have any players, look on the bleachers, see if somebody's got a sibling, see if somebody else got another player. Just have the games. It's really just about getting the games in, letting the kids play baseball. Um, our typical standard call-up rules for the offs for standard call-up rules are suspended for the off-season play. So get call-up players from lower divisions across the same division, whatever you can do, get those games in and let the kids play baseball. Some general information on games and scoring. No new innings can start after 2 hours. So keep umpire determines what that scheduled start is. The umpire, in collaboration with the two head coaches, make the call to stop play before time limit due to weather or darkness. It's not just an umpire that says too dark for me, game's over. It has to be in collaboration with the two head coaches. Home team, you guys are responsible for paying the umpire before the game starts, and you need to provide at least 2 game balls. For those who don't know, the home team also provides the umpires. So make sure that you're talking to your local towns about making sure that you have umpires for all of your games. Most of the league directors already know this, but it's something just to double check. Per inning runs in majors is a 5-run max, in minors is a 4-run max. Just as another note, as most of the stuff that I go through here is really geared towards minors and majors, rookies is going to be a little bit different. It's a very different set of rules. So I'll kind of note some of the things that are in there, but the game plays a little bit different. So make sure you read up those rules on rookies a little bit more specific. There is a mercy rule for majors. It's going to be 15 after 3, 10 after 4. For minors, 12 after 3, 8 after 4. In the event that you do hit a mercy rule, the game continues. You just don't keep score anymore. So you just basically continue to the natural end, but there's a limit to 2 runs per inning. So really, this is the goal of this is so that the kids can keep playing baseball. The goal of this season is to keep them involved, keep them learning. If we cancel a game in the 3rd inning because it's got mercy, the kids stop learning. So we stop the scoring and we start letting them have more opportunities. Games not played. So this is a big deal in the spring, a little bit less here. So games are typically only supposed to be rescheduled due to weather, not lack of players or a coach's conflict. Again, this is summer; it's a little bit more flexible. When we do have rainouts, hopefully it's not nearly as bad as it was this past spring. That was brutal. But try to reschedule your games as close to the original date as possible using either team's field as needed. If you need to use a different field, different town, go ahead and do that. Home team is responsible for determining whether the field is playable. The home team needs to contact the opposing coach and the umpire no sooner than 2 hours prior to game time if canceled. The note here is the 2-hour rule. That means you can't cancel a game more than 2 hours in advance. So if it's a 6 o'clock game, you can't cancel the game before 4 o'clock. Why do we do this? Because this is New England and the weather is completely crazy here. So just because you see at 9 o'clock in the morning it's going to be thundering and pouring and raining all day means nothing. By the time 3 o'clock rolls around, the fields are bright and sunny sometimes, and people are out and playing. So we give it as much time as we can so that we can actually get the games in. So we really want to make everybody wait to that 2-hour mark before you cancel a game. Games are official after 4 innings or 3.5 if the home is ahead. When you're talking about weather, kind of irrelevant when we're not really keeping records, so not too worried about it there. If the game does get postponed before the end of the 1st inning, it will get restarted. Games postponed after the 2nd inning, but not official, will be resumed as of the stoppage of play. When games get resumed, they get resumed exactly as they were when it stopped. So if there's 2 balls and 2 strikes and 2 people on base and pitcher's got 1 inning under his belt, all that stuff is exactly how you pick up the game. It's as if you never stopped. So just pick it right back up where you were. one of the rules that we changed for the MAC this year is when lightning occurs and there's a 15-minute delay, we add that 15 minutes to the max cap on the game. So earlier I said there's a 2-hour, no new inning after 2 hours. If you have a lightning delay, now it's no new inning after 2 hours and 15 minutes. So that way the kids can still play baseball. All right, for pitching, so this is the big difference between our spring and our off seasons. So we're not going to be using pitch counts. We're going to basically every player is limited to 3 innings pitched per game. So question comes, are we delaying for hearing thunder or just seeing lightning? It is seeing lightning, not hearing it. So the umpire, coach, or the other coach can see lightning and cause the delay. We don't have parents come running into the field saying, I saw lightning, cancel the game. It's got to be the umpire or one of the two coaches. So, but back onto the pitching. So again, 3 innings per kid per game. And it doesn't matter if you have a rescheduled game the day after, we're not gonna, again, we're hoping that guys aren't gonna be pitching your kids, crazy during the summer. The goal is to try to get more kids pitching, get them more experience, have more kids out there. So that's why we don't use pitch counts in the summer or the fall. If you are playing in the rookie division, so it will be player pitch the entire season from game 1 to the end of the season. So that is different from our spring season where the kids didn't start pitching until the halfway point of the year. So we are now past the halfway point of spring season. So it will be player pitch all season. Just real quick on some of the warm-ups. New pitchers get 6 warm-ups, returning pitchers get 4. If a player beans 4 players in a game, they got to be removed from pitching for the remainder of the game. Coaches can have 1 mound visit per inning, second visit only to remove the pitcher. Again, umpires are probably a little bit more flexible in the summer, but officially that's the rule, and depending on the umpire, they'll hold you to it. All right, as far as batting goes, so on-deck batters are allowed behind third or first base coaches on some fields, or outside the field of play. Coaches, you need to be responsible and talk to the other coach of the home team to find out where your players are allowed to warm up. Many facilities do not allow on-field warm-ups. What does that mean? I'm going to give you an example of my own field. If you come to Townsend Ashby and you go to Craven Field, warm-ups are not allowed to be done within the fenced-in area. They have to be done outside the fenced-in area. So players should not be on the field during when there's an active play. We are using USA bats. That means no BB core, no USSA bats, no torpedoes. So really keep tabs on your players for the USSA bats. So we had a player get hurt earlier this year because the USSA bat was used. They're not really recommended for rec programs. And a strong kid hitting a USSA bat against a rec kid in the infield can really hurt someone. So make sure they're using USA bat. A note, if a player has contact with the ball with a foot outside the batter's box, they are called out. That is the official rule. A note, any player throwing a bat or helmet with malice will be given a warning for first offense. Second offense will require ejection from a game. An umpire can eject on the first offense if it's egregious enough in their opinion. So if a kid strikes out, takes a helmet and chucks it at someone, they're probably going to get ejected immediately. If they chuck it at a fence, they're going to get warned. Up to the umpire's discretion. Hopefully the kid calms down and that's not a big deal. Base running. I think this is mixed up for the two things. So no limit on how many base runners may advance on an era. I think that might just be majors. I think minors is 1 base on an era. I'd have to go back to look at the rule. No contact rules. So slide or avoid rule is in effect. So we want to make sure kids aren't sliding into other players. It's pretty standard slide or avoid. There is no head first sliding in any of the divisions over summer, except when you're returning to a base. For majors, you can lead in majors, but it's not allowed at the minors or the rookies level. In majors, balks are always warnings, and balks aren't called in minors or rookies. If there are 2 outs, a courtesy runner for a catcher should be used so they can get ready for the next inning. Don't leave your poor catcher sitting on first base when you got 2 outs and they got to get their gear on. Just put a courtesy runner in for them. It'll speed up between innings and give that kid a chance. Base stealing, majors, ball's always live. Minors, base stealing is allowed in a modified format. For MAC towns, it's the same as it was in the spring. So for those who don't know it, you have an unlimited number of steals is allowed in each inning. Individual players may steal more than 1 base in an inning, but not more than 1 per play per runner. A player may not advance to another base on a catching overthrow. Catchers are encouraged to try to throw at a player stealing. So since this is really to try to get catchers to learn how to do throwing runners out. So if a catcher tries to throw out a runner at second or third, and the ball's overthrown, the runners don't get to take an extra base. So this is really to encourage catchers to try to learn how to make a mistake and go try to throw that kid out. It works really well. You just remind your catchers they're always able to throw down, and there's no penalty if they make a mistake. In minors, players are allowed to steal home on either a pass ball or a wild pitch. It's allowed up to 2 times per inning. In majors, there is no limit. Minors, runners can attempt to steal. In minors, runners can only attempt to steal after the ball passes home plate. Minors, there's no delayed steals allowed. Once the runner stopped forward momentum, they must return to the previous base. Keep that in mind. The delayed steals, forward momentum, pretty common thing that we're looking for. So in minors, that's something that you want to watch. The infield fly rule is in effect for the majors division only. I'm not going to read through it. If you know what the infield fly is, that's the description of it. So that will be called in the majors. Drop third strike, again, also in majors, not in minors or younger. The thing that I did want to note here on the drop third strike, as soon as a player steps out of the dirt circle, they will be called out. Until they step on the grass, they can turn and run to first on a drop third strike. We added this rule because it wasn't uncommon for kids learning how to deal with the drop third strikes, that they get a drop third strike, they start walking back to the dugout, and then everybody's yelling at them, go, 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 you can run, run, run. The kid stops, turn around, and starts heading for first. There's always that umpire discretion about where's the line before they give themselves up. So we made the rule that until they step in the grass, they can still turn around and run to first. The moment they put their foot touches the grass, they're committed to giving up the play. So that's how we handle that one. For umpires should be scheduled by the home league. 1 patched umpire is needed at the majors level. No unpatched umpire is permitted at majors. Majors umpires are paid $90 before the game starts. I'm going to note this is for most of the MAC towns. We have the MAC all the MAC towns have an agreement to use the same price. So Westford, Acton, what you guys have to pay your umpires, that's your call. Don't go worry about these numbers. But if you are a MAC town, these are what you'll be paying. For majors, it'll be $90. For minors, if there's 2 unpatched umpires, they'll get $30 each. If it's 1 unpatched umpire, they'll get paid $40. And if it's a patched umpire doing a minors game, they'll get $60. If you are dealing with an unpatched umpire, coaches, you need to work with them. Help their learning. Summer's their learning season as well as yours and the players. Give them a hand. So everyone's looking to get better in the summer, including the umpires. So give them some leeway and help them out, especially the young kids that are learning. I do want to note that if you are using unpatched umpires, they need to remain unbiased. They shouldn't be. So if I have a 13-year-old junior umpire for Townsend, he shouldn't be wearing Townsend Ashby hats and gear and as an umpire. That would be biased. So we want all junior umpires, anybody that's not wearing official gear, to be neutral as best they can. And then just remember to notify any umpires of any scheduled changes. Sportsmanship. So Obviously, this is going to be a thing that we're always going to talk about. We have no tolerance for coaches arguing with umpires. Um, Coaches, remember that you set the example for your players. If you show that you're frustrated with an umpire, that gives the kids the okay to be frustrated with the umpire. It gives the spectators the okay to be frustrated with the umpire. If you don't like what the umpire is doing, keep it to yourself. If you want to talk to the umpire quietly, professionally between innings, go for it. But be respectful and don't show that emotion in the field. Everybody's watching the coach, so how they handle it, and everyone is going to follow suit. So be the example. Um, so the second bullet here is that we do expect and encourage the kids to chant and get loud for cheering on their teammates during their at-bats. What we don't want is anybody cheering negatively towards the other team. And chanting and cheering are not the same as screaming. So kids shouldn't be screaming at the top of the lungs. That's not being positive. That's trying to annoy everybody. It's not allowed. The moment a pitcher starts his windup, all noise must immediately stop. So don't be letting your kids scream and start cheering when the pitcher's trying to do his windup. Give him that 30 seconds. Again, be patient with umpires. If you do have an issue with the umpires, they should be brought to the attention of your local MAC League rep or your um, league summer league rep from Westford and Acton Boxborough. And they will in turn bring it back to me, and I will bring it in turn to the MAC board to see if what needs to be done. Umpires are usually the responsibility of the local towns, so usually it doesn't have to go to the MAC League, and the local towns will handle whatever they need to deal with their umpires. All right, some general information on the fields. Make sure you understand the safety rules of the fields you are visiting. Their rules, regardless of the MAC or your local rules, take precedent. While we are not in a COVID situation now, I may always make it a point to say this because in the event that something ever happens where this town A has this crazy rule that you don't have, and if they say you have to wear a mask in order to come to our field, you have to wear a mask in order to go to their field. That's the rule. Now, we don't have any towns like that right now, so you don't have to worry about it. But in the event things ever change, you always have to follow the host town's rules. The next one here, most fields do not allow dogs to be brought to their fields. I think 90% of the fields, I think there's like 2 left that actually will allow dogs. So please tell your parents, don't bring dogs to the field. The rule for MAC League is that if a violation like this happens, the game gets put on hold until the dog is removed. So it's a pretty strict thing across the board. So just tell your parents, leave the dogs at home. I know sometimes it can be quite a ways to travel. And if parents get to the fields and they get told they can't have their dog and they're like, I didn't know, well, that's on you. So make sure you pass that information along. The more general ones, there's no smoking, vaping, chewing tobacco, drug use at any of our fields. There is no alcohol ever to be bought or consumed at any of our fields. That does mean don't be walking around with a red Solo cup. We know what's in the Yetis. If you start acting belligerent and smell like alcohol, you're going to get thrown out. So make sure you tell your parents those are things that are looked for. And as I mentioned before, if any rule is suspected of being broken, the umpire puts the game on hold until the offending rule is rectified. And really lastly here, treat all the fields as if they're your own. Make sure you clean up the dugout and your spectator side before you and your families leave. So don't go to someone's field, trash it, and then leave. That's just not right. So take 5 minutes at the end of the game, clean out the dugout, make sure all the trash is removed, and go through where your families are sitting in the bleachers or wherever area they are and pick up all the trash that they left. So it's just the right thing to do. And we don't want to have any problems with that type of stuff. All right, we're going to do a walkthrough of the MAC League website. If you haven't seen it yet, it is macleague.org. All right. All right, here is the MAC website. So the way this site is, everybody should have received an email from the site with a link to your team. If you didn't, chances are it's sitting in your spam box. If you didn't get that invite, look at your junk mail box. Probably right now you'll go, hey, look, there it is. And that will let you invite you to your team. Why do you have to invite? Why do you have to accept that invite? Because it shows, it posts your coach's information to the other coaches. And let's take a look at that. So up here at the top, you can see a thing called teams. These are all of our teams for this summer. So let's take a look, and I'm going to pick on my own town. So I'll go to 10U Townsend Ashby. And any of your coaches, as long as you're logged in, you can come in and click on any town. And in the bottom right here, you will see the names of the coaches. You will see their phone number. You will have a link here to be able to email them. That's the way to find other coaches. If you don't see anything here, that means they didn't accept their invite yet. So try to poke. If you don't see that, let me know, and I can keep poking people. But this is really, and when you accept the invite, make sure you click the link. With one of the drop downs is going to say, make my information available to other people. Make sure you leave that checked off. If you say, leave my information private, none of the other coaches are going to be able to get in touch with you. So don't do that. So make sure you leave it available for the other coaches. All right. So once you're in here, you're going to get a quick view of the next 7 days. Obviously here we got to see that the game coming up on Monday. But if you want to see your full schedule, you can come here and click games. Then you can see every game that's coming up for this particular team. You can see who it's against. You can see what field it's at and the details around it. So the other thing you'll note here, there's a button here that says reschedule. Let's say you've decided that this game needs to get rescheduled. You come in here, you click reschedule. When you do this, pick a reason, whatever the reason is. A facility unavailable, change type, reschedule, postpone, reschedule, put in your date, put in your proposed date, time, duration, whatever the location of the new field is, and hit save. When you do that, the coach of the other team is going to get a notification saying you are looking to change this. As soon as they say, yes, I agree, it's going to send me a notification saying the two coaches have agreed to change this game. And then I'll hit the approve button and it will change it on both teams' schedules. We used to just let people change things on their own, and we ended up having games just get changed without other coaches being notified. So we stopped that, and now we got to go through the little mini approval process. It seemed to work fairly well. So that's what we're going to continue to do. Some of this stuff here on the left here is irrelevant. Roster, pitch smart, league context, all of that stuff can be ignored. That's really for our spring season when we're tracking pitch counts. The other thing I want to show up here, there's a field tab here called resources. In here is where all of our rules are. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jump here to the bottom where it says coaches meetings. You click on here, coaches meetings. The first thing you will see is a recording here for all the different coaches meetings we've done for this year. At the top, you'll see a new one that's this meeting that we're in right now once I get it published up there. So if you ever need to come back here, this is where you will find it. All right, so I'm gonna look at the rules. I'm not gonna walk through them in full detail, but I'm gonna show you where they are. So resources, rookie rules. These are all the rules for rookies. Okay, you can come through, you can take a look at them. If you see this stuff in purple, it says spring, obviously ignore that one. Summer, this is how it's gonna be for the summer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So again, I'm not gonna go through and read the rules. But moving to the next one, so for all the other divisions, there's two sets of rules. There's the general rules and then the playing rules for whatever division you're talking about. General rules are more of the specifics about how the game is set up, all that type of stuff. Kind of stuff that you would need to know, about the overall view of a game. The other ones, these are the playing rules. So these are the ones that you want to be able that you would likely need if you were at the field. So that's why we broke them up. So these rule sets come up really well on a phone. So if you browse to the Mac League website on your phone and you hit these rules, you can bring them up really easy. It's good to read and it shows up right on the thing. So it's minors, majors. The other thing I wanted to note here, I meant to put on the presentation for majors, is that majors is going to be running on a 50-70 field. It is not going to be running on a 60s field, 46-60. So just keep that in mind. For those of you who did MAC in the spring, we'll be effectively playing with the majors rules, not the majors A rules. So just keep that in mind. The rules are really the same, other than some run limits and blocks. I think everything else is identical. All right. The only other thing you might care about on here is schedule, where you can come in, you can look at, so like I pull up Monday, you can see every game, where every game is. I believe the other thing you could hit is our facilities. Yeah, about our facilities. That will show you most of the fields that with their addresses. I don't have the addresses in here for Westford or Acton Boxborough, but I will add a note to make sure that those addresses are listed as well on here. All right, that is the extent of what I wanted to walk through. What can I answer for questions? Yes. Gary, I just saw your comment.
Yeah, I thought you actually read it.
No, I actually didn't even see it till just now.
Yeah, those were the only two I found. I mean, I didn't crawl through it, but
Yeah. But yeah, I'll get the missing ones on there. I'll get those
Keith,
on there. Yeah.
could you just walk through again how to make your profile not private or whatnot? I just want to make sure I'm someone can see my information.
So you have what town are you? What team?
Westford.
Which one?
Sorry, U8U Westford.
8U.
Yeah.
So are you one of these guys?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
then yes, it's available to be seen.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, you can only make that change when you accept the invite. If
Okay.
you
Got it.
miss the thing when you do the accept, you have to wipe you out and re-add you back in.
Okay. It does say my son's name instead of mine, but I guess I'm not sure why. So, but thank you.
Yeah, I'm guess hockey family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if because a lot of people use Crossbar for hockey,
Yes.
and what usually happens in those scenarios is when you accept the invite, there's a drop down that most people miss that actually says which participant. You have to make sure you
Okay.
pick you versus the kid. It
Okay.
defaults to the kid, and it happens all the time. So yeah. All right. Other questions?
Hey Keith, it's Matt. I do have a quick one.
Yeah.
With our roster being so large, is there a limit to how many people we can bat and so forth? 10 people in the field.
So
Anything else?
it's 10 people in the field and continuous batting lineup. So
So
if you got
so about
17
17.
showing up, you got 17 kids in the lineup.
Oh boy. Thanks. That's all.
I know that's a tough one. No. Other questions? Can you use wooden bats? I don't believe wooden bats are stamped USA baseball, if I remember right. I think you have to be at least on the big diamond for a wooden bat. If they're stamped USA baseball, you can. But I don't know if wooden bats are stamped USA bat. Any other questions? All right. Well, then we are going to wrap this up.
Actually, Keith, I got one.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is Josh from Acton Boxborough.
Hey.
The one question in the rules, it does say for the rookies that there are no umpires assigned to rookie games.
Yep.
However, in Acton, we do have umpires assigned to those games. We
Okay.
did last year in the other league we were in as well.
Okay.
Is that okay or?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's totally fine. Just be aware when you go to the other towns, they'll probably have the coaches being the umpires.
Yep. Yeah. No
But yeah,
problem.
you're more than welcome to use an umpire. Yep.
Okay.
I will say this. So since this is kind of our first year, kind of doing the summer program, if you have feedback, say, hey, this didn't work out really well, or we wish this was changed, by all means, send the feedback in. That way we can update it before the fall season and update it before next summer. So I'm definitely looking, especially the rookies, because our rookies program is definitely probably the biggest difference. So get any feedback, things you like or don't like, or things we might have missed, and that way we can keep things going properly for the future. Reading that, solid one-piece paths are generally permitted and do not require the USA Baseball certification mark. I don't know about that. I believe that it's true what you read. I know we have the rule that it has to be USA BAT certified. Let me take that as a question back to the board and see what they think about that, and I'll come back and give you an answer for that. Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. So we'll wrap it up, which is good. We got it done nice and early, get everybody back some more of their night. If you have questions, feel free to email me. So you should all have my email. It was the one that was sent out for the invite for the meeting. You'll see me sending out messages whenever whenever we need to do a clarification on the rule or anything like that. I will send out an email to all of the coaches. But feel free to ask questions if you need anything clarified. Send it in. We'll get it clarified for you, and we'll get stuff tightened up. But other than that, everybody have a great summer. Enjoy your season. Have fun, and hopefully we'll all see everybody back here in the fall. Have a great summer, everybody. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Keith.